Everyone, show your teacup to everyone.
Oh yeah, if you're
Disney shout out.
Yeah, if you're listening, drinking tea.
It is just tea, I
Yeah.
swear.
Yeah, even though this is a midday race. So
After a bar. But yes, okay. Welcome back, friends.
hello, friends.
Another episode of Get Checkered.
Get Checkered is part of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown and community supported. And if you're listening for the first time, it's Caitlin and Shanika.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. We are coming at you after the American GP.
Yes.
Shanika and I actually, like, so much fun. We watched this race at a bar in downtown Calgary.
Yeah. So Caitlin and I have had this idea for a while, even when we just had 10 people listening to us on the podcast, which has grown, like, I would say over 7 times now. So
honestly,
thank you, everyone. Yes. But we were able to book out a space at a local pub. We should actually give them a shout out because they were so wonderful.
Hudson's downtown
in Calgary.
Love it.
So great. I feel like we haven't been there. I mean, even with COVID, I feel like we haven't been there in a very long time.
No, and honestly, like my memories from Hudson's downtown are from university days. So
that's my memories too.
They're not
they're not the best.
Yeah.
But they were so wonderful, accommodated us, gave us a back room. And of course, something we should mention here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, you can go to restaurants as long as they're participating in essentially the vaccine passport. So everyone that gets in there has to show their vaccine documents. So it's like fairly safe. So we're so excited. We think we're going to be back in 2 weeks.
Hopefully. Yeah. We're going to contact them. It's a really good space. The back room is like, they say if it's up to 65 people. So it's like COVID spacing friendly regardless. You don't have to be up close in everyone's space.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's great.
Good. We had about 18 people.
Yeah. And like, so they have video, and because it's like football Sundays, a lot of places will only show video, but the audio is reserved for football. The sole audio system is for football, but this place actually, like, it's a separate audio system for the back room, so we have full sound.
Exactly. So if you are a Formula One fan and you're in Calgary and you're totally comfortable watching in person the next race, which is May, no, I said May, it's not May. November 12th.
7th.
Is it the 7th?
It's the 7th, and then the next one's the 14th.
I thought it was the 12th.
It's the 7th, you guys.
Okay.
10 out of 10, look this up.
Okay. 7th. Great. Just let us know, because it's great for a small business that's also going through just a hard time with COVID. But we also want to show these businesses that there are Formula One fans in Calgary, and that, yes, football Sunday is exciting, but that they should maybe make some space
for other stuff too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, no, honestly, like, we have a story up on our Instagram today, Sunday. You can see the space. It's really cool. So just, hopefully you guys, if you're listening and you'd like to join, feel free. It would be great to see you next time.
And we also made friends with some randoms.
We did. They showed up to the bar. Shout out, Alex and your 2 friends, just showing up to the bar, just not even knowing that we had the space reserved for F1.
Yeah.
And you came along and you were awesome. So.
Yeah. And huge Alpine fans. And that's like not the fan base that we had with our friends.
So
it was great. All right. So with that,
kicking off, yes.
Weekly updates. What are we going to start off with, Caitlin?
So leading up to this American GP, there was lots going on, especially on social media.
Yeah. It was a busy week.
It seems like the biggest team that gets really like excited about this, like Haas. Yes, Haas is the American team, but I mean McLaren. McLaren got really into it. It seems like everyone in McLaren got really into it.
Yeah, specifically Daniel Ricciardo,
with the worst mustache and beard combo I've ever
just
seen.
Fully became a Texan, and I don't know if it was just
I can't do it.
Inspired from like Talladega Nights, like the Will Ferrell movie or something, but he looked like he could have been in the movie.
Oh yeah, it was just like, if you're watching the YouTube, you guys should watch the YouTube. It's like a mustache like this, and just like it doesn't come together in the middle.
But then also like along his jawline. So
yeah,
Johnny Ricciardo.
Yeah,
he's doing the uttermost.
Yeah, he was having a great time. He typically does love the American race, and he loves Texas. So
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, good on you, Danny Rick. So also on the train of Danny Rick, a story that happened this week was so Zach Brown, so CEO of McLaren, who's also American, by the way, you guys. He currently owns the real life version. I say real life version because He also owns the replica model that he gave to Danny Rick, but he owns the real life version of Dale Earnhardt's number 3 car in his personal heritage collection. So him and Danny Rick made a podium deal over Twitter. Classic. Over Twitter. As you do. Yep. So if Danny Rick was able to finish 3rd or better during his first season with the McLaren team, he would get to test out that car. Pretty much. So of course we know Monza happened. Yep. He gets better than 3rd. So Danny Rick got to test out this 1984 Chevrolet Monte Carlo NASCAR.
And he looked really happy.
Oh, he was stoked. Yeah. So I guess growing up, Ricciardo was a massive Earnhardt fan. He also drives the number 3 car in F1, partly because of this fanhood to quote unquote the Intimidator.
Oh, that's cute.
It is. So, so more for Dale Earnhardt Sr. Danny Rick has a special black and silver helmet for this race with Dale Sr.'s number 3 and Ricciardo's nickname's a honey badger in the style of the NASCAR legends, the Intimidator persona.
I didn't even realize this.
Me neither. So that was facts, but very cool. So just like living his dream, like a kid in a candy store. And I guess like Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s son, Junior, commented how cool it was that like Danny Rick got to do that. And Danny Rick was told about like the junior said that, and he's like, I'm speechless, like that. It gives me goosebumps is what he said.
Oh,
it's very cute.
It was just such a big deal for him.
Yeah.
The other thing that we saw floating around Instagram and Twitter and everywhere is that our boy Zach Brown got a tattoo. He got a tattoo of the Monza track to highlight the first 1-2 for this duo, and I think maybe for him actually as CEO.
Right, that's what we're trying to figure out. Is that his first tattoo ever?
First tattoo ever. Is that his first 1-2 at McLaren?
I think so.
Too.
So he got the date on top of the track. So it might become patchwork depending on how well that team does.
I know. Could he end up with a sleeve? Similar to like Ed Sheeran's one, right? Because doesn't Ed Sheeran get tatted every city he goes to?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's so cool. One of his arms is just covered and the other one is,
I like that.
Is not, which is okay.
Very cool. Okay. So moving on to Mercedes this past week, just kind of like a lot of okay, so what's happening?
It's just a lot of internet stuff they posted. And the reason why we're mentioning this is because I don't know if Caitlin and I are old and we just don't understand, but there was a meme of Valtteri in black and white.
It was like the inverted colors filter. And it's like evil Valtteri, like, what did he say? We should have remembered, but it's the evil Valtteri meme. And we're like,
evil Valtteri be like, to whom it may concern, I love you. And I'm just,
well, okay. It's just so, it's odd because it's like Valtteri, I guess, after one of his races, he was like, to whom it may concern, fuck you. Okay. So Valtteri said that. So it's like evil Valtteri is supposed to be the alter ego. And so instead of you, they're saying, I love you. Is that it?
I don't know.
It's a weird meme. And we're trying to look it up on Instagram and like there's other versions of the meme. And I'm like, I still don't get it.
We don't get it. So we did put it on our stories and more people just like laughed at it instead of like, when I was like, are we old? Can someone tell us what this is? No one told us. So if you do know these things, please follow us on Instagram at Get Checkered because it would make it easier.
Help us understand the memes
when there's memes. He also, and this is something I'm actually going to miss, but I don't know if it's because he knows where he's going next year. So he's just more comfortable and happy, but he has been just worked so much with the social team at Mercedes, which I think is so important because I work in marketing. And if you don't have the people that are, that you need to market giving you the time of day, it's just such a nightmare. But he was revealed via TikTok that he is in fact the social media admin. So if you if you are loving the tweets or the TikToks, it's actually Valtteri that's behind it all.
Good boy, Valtteri. We knew he was behind some of the TikToks for sure. And it's like it's fun to see him on TikTok, right?
But I just thought it was like such a funny thing because everyone always like wants to know who the social media admin is. And
the admin of Mercedes. Everyone's always been like, ooh, killing it. Mm-hmm. So it's been secretly him and probably some other people.
Oh no, right? I think it's 100% a joke. Like I don't think it's
a team. He's some of it.
He is some of it. He's there for the content. Yeah. And if you do follow Mercedes AMG on TikTok is where you can see just so much more of Valtteri just having fun and like not taking it too seriously and supporting the social team, which I say it's
maybe
like so hard.
Maybe it'll be good for him to go to Alpha and bring up Alpha's social
marketing
media
too. That's actually a good point,
right?
Because maybe he understands the value of it right now. Who knows?
Right?
The other meme that was tied to him was tied to Lewis,
which I didn't fully understand. Danica had to explain this one to me.
But if you were watching the interviews before the race, Charles was situated, ready to be interviewed, and Lewis just wasn't there. And then you see him kind of like jog in, and he was like, no, like I got locked in my room, like I couldn't get out. And he's like, I'm dead serious. And then of course, Mercedes, thinking so quickly on their feet, or whoever the social media or content team is, I don't know if they had this photo in the bank or they made Valtteri pose for it, but there was a photo of him like at a door, like
with a doorknob.
Pretending to like be the reason why Lewis couldn't get out.
It's pretty genius, actually.
I loved it.
It's
but
funny.
It just made me miss him more.
Yeah, we'll see what Georgie can produce. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I don't know.
He has a high bar to live up to, though.
Right? It's just that he's not Valtteri's not taking himself seriously, which you like. Yeah, social media is obviously tied to branding and stuff, but it's nice to see a driver be like, yeah, social media team, what do you need? I'll do it.
Like, let's try this TikTok thing.
Yeah, I'll take it. So the next headline didn't really come to fruition, which was kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, it was just like a few one-off headlines about Andretti Autosport looking to buy into, who was it?
It was Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, this could be big news. And then it's like nothing happened.
Yeah, so there were so many headlines, and it was all over Twitter, and everyone journalists picking it up saying like, he is going to announce it. He's going to announce it this weekend, of course, because it's in America, and Andretti, whatever, and it just never happened. And I feel like we're still going to be waiting for this forever.
I wonder, it's probably like contract negotiations behind the scenes that are taking longer than people anticipated, and it's like, maybe your schedule should have had a bit more leeway in it. I don't know.
Yeah. But I do think that if Andretti ends up buying into the team in whatever way, like significantly or maybe smaller size, I don't know, even if it's just like a bunch of shares, I think that actually Valtteri going there is really smart, because there's going to be like an influx of cash from a team that's already has experience in motorsport.
But the team will have the engine produced, and they can't change it for a number of years.
So who knows? But I think it would be good just to go to a team that potentially has more resources available to them. So the next one was a bit of I don't know, it kind of like sparked some people on Twitter.
Well, yeah, I found it like kind of interesting, but I get why.
Yeah. So Max announced that he is not in Drive to Survive.
Like, he doesn't want to be part of the
upcoming season, right? Yeah. Which is interesting that we find this out now when there's like 5 races left.
Right. And they've obviously been filming for next season already. So have they done the Red Bull one? Maybe. Maybe they haven't done the Red Bull one yet.
Maybe.
Because we know they do different teams.
Yeah, every weekend. So that's
I don't know. But pretty much like and a lot of people are also agreeing that they get why he doesn't want to be on it, because he's been kind of painted in a villain outfit from Drive to Survive, which, yes, true. Maybe that has influenced us a little bit too.
Yeah,
but because we've seen him be really like childish and standoffish and just not someone we could throw our support behind. But that was from Drive to Survive showing the first few seasons. Like this season, he hasn't been as bad for sure. And Christian's made sure fans know that he's grown up. And yes, okay, he has, but like he still has a pretty standoffish demeanor, I would say.
I think I totally get it. I would say it's definitely just challenging though, because Max is going to get talked about regardless because of where he is in the standings with Lewis. So I think what I would have done if I were him was just sit down with the Netflix team and negotiate and say that you want more control over the final cut, or at least more of a heads up or something. Because likely the teams, meaning like his media team and stuff like that, did get final cut of the show, and maybe just didn't like what they said, but it was like too far along. So that's what I would have done, because he's going to be talked about regardless. Like he's, the driver that he is, he's in the leading right now, the championship. So I don't know. I think it's all over the place. I also think that Netflix has been so monumental in getting newer fans to Formula One. There was some conversation on Twitter that everyone's like, yeah, but the new fans are toxic. They're always wanting like a Lewis versus Max thing. And I'm like, I don't, I mean, maybe not. And maybe it is because of the edit that he was given. But I think that anyone coming to the sport and now watching the sport, you can kind of see where these narratives are getting built. So I actually think it's a good thing that maybe these fans are coming in through Netflix, but then if they're watching the actual season, they can see where the tension points are and maybe where Netflix is embellishing come next year.
Well, and we were also thinking, and shout out to one of our listeners for recommending this, but like we could watch past races for our non-race weekends. So like maybe some of these monumental ones, like I really want to see that Baku one with Danny and Max crashing.
Yeah, we haven't seen that.
Because like that was a big narrative in Drive to Survive. So let's get our own perspective on it. But I really think I have my own thoughts, but we'll see.
We'll see. So get it. Don't know if it makes the most sense for him, his brand.
But he's already. So I'm gonna tie this into a fact we don't have written down. But during the Thursday press conferences, they were telling Max that he has like the biggest fault, like he has the most fans. Out of anyone now. Right. So it's like, doesn't matter if Max doesn't go on Drive to Survive because he already has that.
I mean, I would think that the way that people are, athletes are leveraging their fans the same way that creators like YouTubers and stuff leverage their fans. So for him, it's actually more valuable to have more fans because you can get more, frankly, you can monetize them and make more money out of them. There's never enough, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we'll see. Also something we don't have it in our notes, but maybe it's tied to this. Speaking of, athletes kind of working like creators, Pierre Gasly is actually the first out of all of the drivers to drop a NFT. So that's like another way, that they're monetizing themselves and their fans and owning their brand outside of their teams. So that's something that Max could do, and having more fans could drive that price up significantly. So
NFTs, I have my thoughts. To each their own, though.
Web3, baby, it's happening.
But okay, so we know that Max was told in Thursday press conferences he has the most fans. They told Lando that he has like a great following with like younger fans and female fans, and he was like kind of shy about it and cute about it. I'm like, I feel like, is this almost a show, or are you so I'm trying to understand Lando. I think he's awkward in front of the camera, but I don't think he's awkward in general.
No, and I actually think he's a brilliant businessman, because what we're talking about, being a creator outside of the space, that's what he's doing, right? Like he's built so many things on his own brand outside of being tied up with his team or McLaren or whatever. And I think that's actually brilliant. So
we're trying to, I still have to put this video out or picture or whatever, trying to convince Team Quadrant to send my little cat Clover a little bandana, because I know they have their, she's probably asleep. They have their Clover Motors like line pretty much. I'm like, that would be so cute
for little Clover.
So look out, if you guys listening can help us somehow, like retweet or something,
we would love to get Clover some merch.
So McLaren was told they have like the biggest fan base now.
That makes sense.
Which it doesn't surprise me. They had two very likable drivers. So that's great for them, and they're really showing well this season. But that was kind of the news that the Thursday brought up, I think.
Interesting. We'll have to see where these drivers go in terms of branding themselves outside of the sport. Lewis has done a really good job, but I think there's more space now and like more mediums, which we can see again with Lando.
Okay. We're gonna do a quick ad break. This is a promo actually for a fellow Alberta Podcast Network team. We hope you guys enjoy.
It's a conspiracy!
All right. It's a Conspiracy is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. We do our best to present these without coloring them with our opinion until the end, where we let our feelings fly. We also do beer reviews, chat about geek culture, and whatever else strikes our fancy. Good times. And we're a part of the Alberta Podcast Network. Locally grown, community supported.
we are going to do some quick track facts for you guys.
Yeah.
Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, it's called that. I'll be honest, when I saw COTA everywhere, I was like, I don't know what this is. So I'm glad that I know.
I just think as such, I'm so sorry to all our American listeners. I'm really not trying to offend anyone, but like the fact that it's like of the Americas when America is one country of literally North and South America.
There's 3 of us.
There's more races in the Americas, but
yeah.
that's just a little beef. Anyway, so COTA, as it is commonly referred to, is in Austin, Texas, a little place you guys may have never heard of before.
Obviously.
Right?
Just have no idea what Austin, Texas is at all.
They actually call Austin the live music capital of the world.
That doesn't surprise me. I think that Austin gets a bit of a bad rap, but it's also a huge place for tech. A lot of startups are based out of Austin. So, I mean, in general, we've seen some big tech companies want to move to Texas, but it's
interesting,
not surprising to me.
Because like, so we're in Calgary, right? So like there's so many ties to Houston.
Yeah.
Right. So Houston's what I think of when I think of Texas, but Austin's the capital. And
I didn't know that.
A lot of like, yeah, I definitely heard that it has some great music scenes coming up and it's a place we should all be going. So maybe.
I was a little sold this weekend for sure.
I mean, there's lots of reasons to be sold on this weekend. We will go into it. But so this COTA track, the first F1 race was actually in 2012. Okay. It is the 10th track in the United States to hold an F1 World Championship race, but it is the first circuit in the USA to be purpose-built for F1.
Oh.
So, right? And then, you know, Miami's coming up next year, so it won't have that lone distinction, but it'll still be the first. This one it has 20 turns. I feel like that's longer than a lot of the ones you've seen before.
I think so, yeah.
And again, it's a counterclockwise track. Some of the like notable structures, yeah, of this track. So they have a 77-meter observation tower. Okay. They have a landscaped Grand Plaza area, and then they have this Austin 360 amphitheater.
What?
So, okay, let me tell you about this amphitheater.
Okay.
It's at the base of the observation tower.
Okay.
And so this weekend for 2021, they had 21 pilots perform on Friday night. And then they had Billy Joel perform on Saturday night at this theater. Like it's a full-on like concert series going on with F1. Just super cool. They've had big names. They had Taylor Swift, I think back in like 2016. They were saying, and I'm like, whoa, I would go.
I have no idea about that. Okay.
Right. We haven't noted here that Mercedes has typically done well in the past. Valtteri won the last race, which was 2019. Lewis has won 5 times here. And since 2012, there's only been 2 times where a non-Mercedes has won. So that being 2013, Sebastian Vettel with Red Bull. And 2018 was Kimi with Ferrari.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Oh, Kimi, we love Kimi.
Love that for him.
There is lots of elevation gain at this track. So notable is turn 1, actually. So coming off the very start, there's lots of elevation gain. So 30.9 meters. And they nicknamed this, and then it's to a very tight left. It's nicknamed Big Red. Very Texas name, Big Red.
I was gonna say it's a very Texas name,
right? So that's after his co-founder, I guess, of the track or of some company around the track, Red McCombs. And so we are to look for some serious overtaking opportunities there. And then also turn 12 is after a 1,000-meter straight. So it's lots of speed coming into a corner. So some stuff to look out for. They have, Jesus, apologies too. So the MotoGP and FIA World Endurance Championship races also race here at COTA. And I want to note that, so the MotoGP race here beginning of October, and it was noted by quite probably all the drivers. I haven't actually looked up the facts, but I think majority, if not all drivers in the MotoGP noted how bumpy this track was. So from motorsport.com, bumps have always been encountered here at COTA because it is built on shifting land. Pierre Gasly noted that they seem even more severe now after he watched this October MotoGP event. The FIA actually mandated COTA to mill the track surface, and they said they did, but it's kind of like, will they do more? There's lots of notes and comments from the Thursday press conferences with the F1 guys about these bumps. Epstein replied to Gasly's comments that Gasly may have said something, but he hasn't driven the track yet. Like, Whoa, okay.
The driver's like, no, though, I feel like.
They're the ones putting their lives out on there.
Okay, anyone with last name Epstein.
Okay, so and then Bottas actually said that Austin bumps were okay, but quote unquote on the limit during the 2019 event. He added that the limit is when it becomes too painful. When it's a really bumpy track, your body gets quite a beating and you start to get headaches and stuff like that. So it's quite physical on the drivers. Then it's not much fun anymore. So I've understood they've done some work on the track. So hopefully it's drivable and enjoyable. Now, Kimi, in Kimi fashion, said that the bumps have been there every year. Some years a bit more, some less. And I mean, if the MotoGP guys can manage to do a race, we should be absolutely fine. I mean, no one else but Kimi.
Truly, no one else but Kimi.
So yeah, it was kind of like noted about all the bumps. So we, in I think free practice and even in quali, like you could watch the bottoms of the cars were touching the pavement quite a bit.
Yeah.
And like sparking up quite a bit. So it was like, we didn't really note much in the post-race interviews. There wasn't much about bumps, was there?
No. Just like tire management.
Yeah,
but that makes sense.
We'll get into tires later. Don't worry.
The race and how it's structured.
There is a stat about Kimi. So back when he won 2018 with Ferrari, it was after a 114 race win drought.
That's a very long time.
That is technically, I guess, the longest such drought in F1 history.
Oh, Kimi.
Oh, Kimi.
That's okay.
The fastest lap prior to this year. So Charles Leclerc ran the fastest lap in 2019 on lap 44 race. So we knew that Charles and Ferrari probably had a good chance. So some quick facts from racefans.net. Drivers will be at full throttle about 59% of this race. 66 gear changes a lap, which is more than the other ones.
I can't even imagine.
But then again, like 20 turns.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so rough on your body.
And, oh, girl, especially with that water. Like Sergio did not have water throughout this race, you guys,
which is scary.
And then a quick note on the tires. So from the Pirelli infographic they put out for this USGP, it would be a medium range of the slicks, so C2, C3, C4. They note a medium categorization for the characteristics such as track traction, braking, and asphalt grip. Same as downforce, sorry. And then they actually categorized it as medium high for lateral tire stress and asphalt abrasion. So hearing that is kind of like, definitely kind of thought the mediums and hards would be prevalent, and they weren't. So from Pirelli, a quote they had was around 40% of the track has been resurfaced since 2019, but due to COVID restrictions, we were not able to send our personnel to analyze the new asphalt. So its characteristics are question mark for everyone, and we will only discover the final effects on tires and car performance in general when we are there.
That's always a scary one.
I mean, that's not what you want to hear.
Yeah, no.
I mean, no tire blowouts, so it's fine.
I know.
I'm really scared about another Baku though.
Yeah, that was so scary because it was Max and
Stroll
and Lance Stroll, and then they came back and said there was nothing wrong, right?
Yeah, Pirelli.
It's not good when you had two drivers in the same tire and no indication that their tires were going to blow.
Yep, at high speeds. Let's just put that in there. Safety definitely put at risk. But anyways, yeah. Okay, so that's the tire situation coming into this race.
Yeah, so we actually got to watch some of quali.
Yeah, it's a normal time again.
It was a normal
Thank
time
you for being in the States.
Yeah. So I had it kind of like playing on in the background, but then also on Twitter and stuff like that. And through Q1, no surprises. Everyone was just kind of chilling.
Yep, classic.
Which is fine. Unfortunately, though, when it came to Q2, Mick didn't move on to it, which is so sad.
We want to see him do so well.
Because, yeah, I don't know. We know he can drive. All of these drivers can drive, but he just needs to be in a better car. And also experience, right? Like, it would be nice to see him in different rounds.
Right? The more he gets into Q2 and stuff, the more experience he gets. So
100%. There was a mix of softs and mediums during qualifying, which a lot of the top 10 were on mediums. I know that Ferrari actually, when they were talking to Charles, no, that's wrong. They were talking to Carlos, meaning like, I think it was just Sky Sports or whoever. One of the things that he said, who's like, going on soft was a mistake.
Interesting.
So I think they actually learned that through free practice, but he was like, that's one thing that like, it was just not the best thing to go on. which makes sense. Danny Rick was close to not making it in Q3. What happened there?
He ended up like 14th. No, he ended up 9th, and Yuki ended up 10th.
Love to see it.
Yes. But it was like he could have not made it because there were other people who still had to finish their lap, and it's like, oh my god, Danny,
try faster. Someone did a shoey in this stand, and I saw that too, and I thought that was so disgusting.
Oh, it was repulsive. It's all over. Like F1 tweeted about, not even tweeted. Well, they probably did tweet about it. They put it on their Instagram. Danny Rick put it on his Instagram. Yeah. McLaren put it on their Instagram. I'm like, this is how we get famous.
We're not doing shoeys.
Well, I mean, put a sleeve in there or something.
It's just it's so gross. There also was a Danny Rick onesie that was spotted.
Oh,
just with his face all over it.
Oh,
not sure.
That's uncomfortable.
Perez was super fast, so he had provisional pole for a little bit in Q3. Lewis beat him. Max beat Lewis. Usual things. And then Perez couldn't retake the title. That's like not really surprising.
But it would have been, I think they were saying, first time a Mexican would have had pole
on the stage.
Maybe he carries it forward to the Mexican GP in 2 weeks though.
Yeah,
right? That could be huge.
I'd be happy to see him do well. So we end up with our top 10, which is Max in pole position, not surprising.
Classic.
Then Lewis, then Sergio Perez, Valtteri, who we'll touch on later, Charles, Carlos Sainz, Danny Ricciardo, Lando Norris, Pierre Gasly, and Yuki Tsunoda.
So Ricciardo outqualified Lando for the first time. It must be a long time.
It's been a while. Right. And then also with Valtteri, something we should know, yes, he's in 4th, but because it was his combustion, something that they swapped, the ICE.
Internal combustion engine.
Yeah, so they swapped and he was given a 5-place
penalty. So he starts 9th.
Yes, he starts at 9th. All of the top 10 were on mediums, except this is where the softs come in. Sainz and Tsunoda were on softs, which was why he was like, not the best call. But that's also interesting though, because he did qualify quite high.
I also find that like Sainz is usually the one to go on softs, or Ferrari is in general.
Yeah, I find that too.
Yeah,
we've seen it a lot this season,
right?
And I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Maybe it just does well with their car.
Maybe who knows. And then Danica Patrick during the post-qual interviews, it was so good to see her. And for the people who say they don't know her, come on. Like Caitlin and I don't even watch a lot
NASCAR.
of
No.
Or
we
know
who, and we know
who Danica Patrick is. She was the biggest fan of Checo, but like we need more women in motorsport. To have one represent anything it's so exciting. So we're glad to have her. But I would say like pretty standard qualifying, like nothing
out of the ordinary, right? I thought if Danny would have made Q3, that would be notable.
Yeah.
It's just like he's obviously so pumped for this.
With his bad beard and outfit. Love that for Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, he did out qualify his teammate, which I feel like hasn't happened in a long time. So it's great. Right. We're going to talk about race day just shortly after this ad break. This episode is brought to you by Rumi by Atco.
Hi there, I'm Brendan, a certified home inspector with Rumi. Do you have a problem that needs fixing? Whether it's big or small, inside or outside, let me help you find out what's really going on. You can call me by phone, or we can take a look together over video chat. Visit rumi.ca, that's RUMI.ca, and go to Ask a Home Inspector to book your appointment with me today.
All right, so we're changing the structure of our race day breakdowns because we think our podcasts are getting too long.
Yeah, sorry about that 2-hour one, you guys. That was long.
So after looking at where people are dropping off, we were like, we need to
like organize better, I think.
So we tried to do it at this time, and I think that we did
it'll just create a better flow.
Yeah.
And we won't be so back and forth, hopefully. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the highlights of race day, which we watched at the bar with there was 18 people, and it was so cool.
We were so happy about it. So there's, like I said, if there's anyone in Calgary that wants to join, we'd love to have
you. So yeah, we have first out shout out to the randoms who met at the bar that literally did not know about this podcast.
Yeah.
Watched it with them. It was honestly like the first Alpine fans I think we've met here.
Yeah, I agree. Like even online too, we haven't had many people slide into our DMs and say, "Oh yeah, like I like Alpine." If you're wondering, this is where the notes are, but
we talk about notes a lot. Yes.
And then of course we talked about Valtteri's engine penalty, but then also Alonso's full power unit was swapped out and then he started at the back of the grid.
Yeah, I think like Alonso didn't do well in quali, so
it just was
if they're going to switch out one component, maybe switch out the whole thing.
Yeah. Exactly. So Caitlin, how did the first sort of turn one go?
Yeah, so it was very exciting the first lap.
Yeah,
very exciting.
Insane.
It kind of started out with so you had Max in first, of course, and he was okay. If you're watching YouTube, watch the YouTube. So Max is here, Lewis is here, and like Max definitely like he shoves Lewis way to the side.
Yeah, 100%.
But Lewis is on the inside side of the upcoming turn one.
Yeah.
So he gets around that turn one first. And like it was quite the sight seeing Lewis in the middle and there's like two Red Bulls like flanking him.
Yeah, just trying to get around him, and somehow he was able to hold both, because Sergio also wasn't like skimping out on where he was, like he was gunning for him too. So
it was fun it was great to see. It was like, ooh,
and to like watch on a big screen.
It was a good show,
but yeah, it was also scary because we know that these drivers have a tendency to take themselves out.
How many people, and be honest with yourself, before this race were like, they're going to crash, they're starting 1 and 2, they're going to crash?
Yeah.
Were you one of them?
I definitely
I had it in my
there
head,
was going to be an accident.
Yeah.
So I was hoping not, but
but it was kind of clean after that. Like Lewis had
enough space that he got around. Yeah.
And then we also had a solid battle with McLaren and Ferrari, all 4 of them.
It was so insane to
watch. It was awesome.
Basically coming out of I don't know if it was turn 1, but essentially the cars were 3 wide with Charles just a little bit ahead, but it was the McLarens and Carlos all fighting for position. And I don't think we've seen that this season at all. Just like 3 cars be wide and then kind of be limited in options. So Lando in his post-race interview was saying that he like didn't have the best options, like didn't have a choice, because he knew that Daniel was beside him going wide, and that if he didn't brake properly or like late enough, early enough, whatever, he would likely like T-bone Charles if he was going into a corner, into a turn. So it was so intense though to watch our boys just really going at it and doing, what I think is like a bit of the glory days of Formula One, maybe. I don't know if I'm like, people are gonna be upset with me, but it's just like McLaren versus Ferrari. That's fun. What you want to see, right?
Like 4 drivers fighting hard. Ooh.
For position, but also not taking each other out.
And also because it's like, we know how close they are in the standings.
Yeah.
So it's like, evenly matched. It was great to see.
It was so good. And I want to say, like, whatever upgrade Ferrari did to the
power unit,
there's a significant difference, you can tell, because after Monza it was like, holy crap, like Ferrari's got to pick it up, or else
we commented on the management
or else they're going to get smoked by McLaren. But whatever changes they made, brilliant.
I mean, okay, so that's technically brilliant. Yes, we still have thoughts on the management.
We still think people just can be fired, but I don't think we're the only ones to think that, to be honest.
Likely not.
No.
But you're hearing it from 2 girls in Calgary. So okay, and then we had like the pit strategy, and it mattered.
Yeah, and it was also not what we were expecting.
No,
I think as a viewer.
No.
Yeah.
It was like kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Because we had Max pitting on lap 11 out of 56. It's like, poor. It's a 2, like everyone's anticipating it to be a 2-stop pit stop race.
Yeah.
But it's like lap 11 still early.
Super early. And we were all kind of like, what?
And
what's happening here?
I think Max was even noting in his post race, he's like, yeah, it was an aggressive strategy by the team, but it paid off. Guys, like, how did this happen? Caitlin, obviously, I was not paying full attention because it's fun being in a bar and talking to people.
Yeah.
So like Max does his pit, and then like 7 laps later, Lewis does his pit.
Yeah.
But Lewis comes out and he's like 6 seconds behind Max. How did Max gain that much time?
I honestly think it's just the fresher tires, probably coupled with the wear that we knew that was going to happen, or like that probably didn't know was going to happen, but yeah, I still don't know if pitting Max that early made sense, because I still think they could have pitted him in a couple laps and it wouldn't have made that much of a difference on the outcome.
No, I mean, he won. So.
I know, seriously. Kind of around the same time, and I think this is where I got concerned for Lewis, is they pit Max, and we know that generally with races like this, at least at this track, you can pass, but generally whoever pits first between the two of them has like a bit more say in like what's happening. And then my concern, and who was one of the people that came to watch it, was just like, if they pit Perez, like Mercedes is going to be in a bind because Valtteri hadn't pitted, no one else. And sure enough, lap 12, they call in Perez, and I'm like, oh my God. So the giant question becomes then, Caitlin, do you think, at least with the first pit stop, did they leave him out for too long?
I have thoughts on this Mercedes strategy machine. I think it could use either refinement or, I don't know. It's so weird because it seems that Red Bull's acing their strategy. They're trying aggressive stuff and it's working out for them. When Mercedes tries aggressive strategies, it does not work out for them.
No, it doesn't.
And so it's like, did they leave him out too long? Likely. I don't know what actually happened in those few laps. I was not paying full attention. But like, Lewis is obviously losing time. If he comes out, that's his like about 20-second-ish pit stop, and he's 6 seconds behind Max. But when he was starting lap 1, he was ahead of Max.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
No idea. And I completely agree with you. I'm just like kind of confused because I don't think Mercedes expected Red Bull to pit so early. No one did. I don't think Max did either. But it was, you know, I guess the right call in the end. So I don't know. I think that we need to figure out what Mercedes is doing, because this is the second race, right, where it's been like, what is going on with strategy?
It's like they've had weird calls all season.
So I'm just surprised I'm not surprised they didn't pit him early, like lap 11, but I'm surprised they didn't, when they saw Max pitting, that they didn't respond. Yeah. That's a little surprising to me.
No, well, yeah. So, oh, sorry. This is what I get for having beer till like 1 o'clock. So we noted here that Vettel ended up hitting as well, lap 18. Aston Martin at this point were the only ones to not pit.
Yeah, they were out for a while.
But is that lap 18?
Yeah, it was around lap 18.
That still doesn't seem like that long.
No, but like, because everyone else was pitting so early, it was like, what is happening?
So we go from Sebastian trying to change his tires in Turkey or Russia. Was it Turkey or Russia? To slicks. It was Turkey, wasn't it? No, it was Russia.
It was Russia. Was it Russia?
To slicks?
Yeah. I have
he did the Bambi moment. We can't remember which one it was.
I have the visual of him.
So we go from Aston Martin making a like aggressive call like that to like, oh, let's just let everyone else go.
Yeah.
And we'll be the last.
Bizarre.
Well.
And then of course, you know, the second pit stop's coming. And again, Max is the one that pulls the, I don't know, just he does it. And he does it at lap 30-ish. Again, much to our surprise, because that leaves 26 laps.
Yeah. But he went on to hards. And the commentators were saying that the hards should be good for about 40 laps. Now they're saying should, because you'll never know, like with the dynamics of the car. Exactly. And also because Pirelli has not done their research.
Exactly.
And 40% of the track has been repaved.
So it's hard to tell.
Terrifying.
But then Lewis ended up hitting about 7
laps later. Yeah, something like
we just don't know. And I think likely Mercedes was like, oh, there's no way not no way, but there's less like possibility that Max will actually make it to the end of the race on the tires that he has.
Right. Were they betting on that?
Probably. I don't know. But it just didn't end up working out the way.
Like, Lewis had good pace catching up to Max after the second pace, right? Yeah. He really was catching up.
He was.
But I think what Mercedes needs to understand is like, you're doing these approximations that it'll take him X number of laps to pass Verstappen. Those final 1 or 2 or 3 can drag out because of the dirty air behind Verstappen. And Verstappen's defensive driving. So like, you can put in your simulations that, oh, we'll switch him 7 laps later. I think that was good timing.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe Verstappen's second pit was too early, but Lewis seemed to have good pit for a second time, but he got caught up in dirty air behind Max, and Max started driving for the win.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that if you are leading, it can go either way, right? Like we know if you're leading and it's raining and you make a call, then sometimes you could be wrong, right? Like what if you're on just the wrong tires and it dries up? So it goes either way, but I think that this is just some questions. The pit times were pretty solid though, except one for Carlos, which I was kind of annoyed about.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense to me. Ferrari, again, like we know that there's a human element now to the pit stops, but it was just annoying to see Carlos, who was actually doing really well, go in, and then it was like over 5 seconds. And then they pitted Charles, like, I think in the following like 2 laps or something. It was 2 point something. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't think it's I'm not saying sabotage, but it was just kind of like, what is,
I think
consistency, people.
Yeah, maybe that's just like, if it's human error, that's at least something they can address, right?
Yeah.
And they can work on. So maybe that's what they'll be doing for next season. But
hopefully.
It was interesting. The pits were like, we noted a good pit here was 2.4 seconds.
Yeah.
Versus like we've seen Red Bull do sub 2s before.
Like a 1.8.
So I thought that was interesting because most pits this time were 2.7, 2.8 seconds. And it's like, seemed like a little bit more than a normal race, but it made like even more than like, because it came in after Spa. We've still seen faster pits than this.
Yeah, I agree.
Odd.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like how the Texas one is built. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. We had some headaches for Alpine and AlphaTauri.
It was super devastating to see. Obviously, Pierre, P10 or 9. One of Yuki and him were right together, so it's one of the other ones. To see him do really well again, finishing where he needs to finish and being in the right position. But then you could see there was issues with his car right away. I think there was a little bit of an incident, and then he fell back several spaces and just was having such a hard time. And it got to the point where you just see him like crawling along, and then he's like, it's the suspension. Like, can't do anything. It always scares me when the drivers are driving so slowly and everyone else is driving
like at excessive speeds. Like,
I'm like, okay. As soon as he said it's a suspension, I was like, okay, you need to go in like now. So
careful, honey.
Unfortunately, he DNF'd, which we hated. But
yeah,
I know.
Well, and it was like, so they said it was suspension issues, but like some of the people in the bar were saying like they heard the car was not doing well. Like it's suspension, but is it something else too? Because that car was not sounding great.
No, we could hear it through Pierre's like audio that something was really wrong. So I don't know.
Hopefully that gets figured out. But he was safe in the end.
Exactly.
So that's what matters. Okay, and then both Alpines. What happened?
I know. What happened and our poor random new friend who
Alonso fan and
just huge Alpine fan, and just was not the race for them today. Esteban, I don't know where he qualified. Do you know?
No.
It just wasn't momentous, wasn't memorable. But he was essentially at the back of the pack the whole time. Alonso got into quite a few tips, which we'll get into with people. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had his elbows out. There were some bumps, some love taps, things like that. But in the end, they had to retire both cars.
Yeah, that's a really bad race for them.
Yeah. I guess the only saving grace is that Pierre also had to retire because, as we know, AlphaTauri and Alpine are battling each other in the constructors. So I guess.
But Yuki got points.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so bad for Yuki. He deserves it. But it just, I don't know what the hell happened.
Me neither, but they need to fix something. I was upset for Alpine because I'm like looking, they're showing the mechanics in the garage, and I'm like, these are the same mechanics we saw at Spa that were doing the Macarena. You guys,
I'm just having so much fun.
We kind of have a soft spot in our hearts for them because of that.
Yeah.
And so just to see their hard work just kind of into DNFs in one race.
Not a good feeling, especially when you're this close to the end. It doesn't mean more engine swaps. It means your freaking team is starting in the back again. I don't know. There's a lot. They just need to figure it out. But it just, and it sucks because we like seeing Fernando Alonso race a lot.
He's a good racer.
Yeah. And as sort of new fans, seeing him race is really exciting. So he was aggressive as shit, but it just was like the car wasn't there at all.
So speaking of Fernando Alonso with his elbows out, it was mostly with Alfa Romeo. The Alfa fights and Alonso were awesome to see.
Yeah. And also the FIA was just saying they were a racing incident. So I was
yes,
like,
perfect.
Like, we'll take it. But he went toe to toe with Kimi, and was it Kimi's car that ended up getting a little bit of damage?
I think so.
Yeah, going over the
I think so.
curb.
Yeah, they had a love tap.
Yeah.
And Kimi had a little bit of flying debris come up.
And it was just like, oh, okay.
But then it didn't end with Kimi.
No.
There was lots of battles with Giovinazzi as well. And we both know Giovinazzi's like, he's driving to survive.
Yeah, so we still have no update about his seat, and you could tell that he just doesn't give a shit, just in terms of like, am I going to pull out of this corner? No. Like, am I going to be the one that takes a step back just in case something? No, absolutely not. He was full blown just with Alonso and fighting back as much as he could, which I guess in the end kind of like worked because all the Alpines were out by the end. But it was great racing to watch, to be honest, and to see Giovinazzi kind of like hold his own against two, yes, Kimi is his teammate, but they were like pretty much neck and neck the whole time. So it was like kind of Alonso between the two of them. So I don't know. But I do think, like we talked about this so many times, they need to tell Giovinazzi what's happening. I don't know if they have, maybe behind the scenes. They're like, hey, this is what your future is. But I just think that if a driver doesn't know, I feel like it can get dangerous if they're just like laying it all out there. And yeah, no,
totally. Something I learned, I don't know actually, and if I mentioned this in a previous podcast, we'll cut this section out. But so we learned from one of our followers on Instagram, that should Oscar Piastri win the F2 title this year, he cannot go back into F2. It's pretty much like you win F2 and you're supposed to go to F1.
Yeah.
But you can't do F2 again. So like that really ties into this Gio seat because
it's the only one that's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happened with Nick DeVries, I learned, is Nick DeVries won F2.
Yeah.
He didn't get into F1. So he went into FE. And now he's won FE.
And now what the hell he's gonna go?
I have no idea. He's also slotted in. He could go for that Alpha seat. He probably should have got that Williams seat because it's like tied in with Mercedes, and Nick DeVries won with the Mercedes car in FE.
Yeah.
But he didn't. It went to Alex Albon, who has like Red Bull persona. He just glows.
Ties to Red Bull. So as you can see, it's just still complicated because we know that there's really talented drivers in F2. We've talked about it so many times. And then Gio has no idea, or maybe he does, it's just not public. But then he's out there driving and I get scared because I'm like, but it's also trying so hard.
It's near the end of October, you guys.
Yeah. Tell him it's not fair.
I've seen.
Yeah. Anyways. I don't know. And then Oscar Piastri, like that becomes a money thing. Like it's just so much crap.
I mean, like, okay, if you're Oscar, it must be so upsetting and frustrating that like I've worked my whole life. I am a damn good driver. I am winning championships and I'm not making it to where I want to go. Like, what else can I even do?
And there's nothing. That's like the thing. The issue is money. Like, I don't know.
We said it before. We'll say it again. Lewis and/or Toto sponsor this kid. Don't just come on, do it for the sport,
or figure out a way to get these people connected with really rich people. We know all you live in Monaco, not paying.
You
taxes.
have neighbors,
yes. that are also not paying taxes.
Exactly.
So go, please.
But anyways, that was a side tangent. The final lap. It was very exciting. This was a very exciting end of the race.
So we heard Lewis's, I don't know, his team person, maybe it was Bono, come on and say, all right, like the final 3 laps will be quite telling for the race. Like you have those laps. And sure enough, we were like at the final, I would say 2, where it was kind of like, is this going to happen?
Yeah, he was like, Lewis was behind Max and he's like inching at that 1 second mark for the past like 2 laps.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh my God, just get it.
Yeah.
And then you had DRS, come on. But there was one point at which I do want to talk about Max having to lap a Haas. I think it was probably he who shall not be named because, he was kind of in the way.
But it was a Haas, yeah.
And Max is like on his team radio, he's like, so someone get this Haas out of the way.
I know. And I was like, stay.
But because of that, they were saying, and I saw that Max had his DRS open.
Yeah, he got like the slipstream.
Why the heckers was Max allowed to do DRS, but Lewis was close to that 1 second and could have got DRS on Max?
Yeah, I don't know.
Damn.
Basically, we're saying it could have been even closer and down to the wire in that final. But the Haas was in the way, which is funny. It's just funny.
It would be Haas. It would be. But Lewis was struggling to pass Max. He was really catching up. He was like 8.5 seconds back after his second pit.
Yeah.
And he was making good time. He was like half a second, 1 second faster than Max per lap. And it's like, oh my God, he can make it. But then it's like he got caught in Max's dirty air and he had a harder time for the last few laps.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, not everyone that we're with today, Red Bull, Mercedes, whatever. Everyone loves everything. We still applauded for Max when he won, but yes. I think like Lewis having his 8th like win, Ohm was saying just for the champion, just for the sport is a huge deal. Mm-hmm. So of course we're gunning for these drivers to be just a bit closer and to have Lewis kind of just struggle, like be within that 1.5 second range so much because of the dirty air, because whatever else. And I'm like, just get speed, like get faster.
It would have been so, like we said before, we want a close last lap, right?
Yeah.
This was close, but we do know it could have been closer. If Lewis could have got his DRS, we could have had a race at the end. And like, that is what we want. That is
100%
what we want.
That's all we want. That's not hard.
But yeah, it ended. It was very eventful though. It was very fun at the beginning, very fun at the end. Just very fun experience being in the bar.
Yeah, and to be on our feet a little bit and just watching and waiting and seeing. Also the tires became an issue, right? Like with Max, it's like, all right, we know he pitted way earlier than Lewis, that second pit. So I guess I was just concerned that there would be a Baku thing.
Oh my God, that's just like what lives in our heads now.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, that's the thing. It's just so scary. So I'm like, oh God, I hope the tires are fine. But
so we finished with Max in first.
Yeah.
Lewis in second. Checo third. So another double podium. I actually really like the ring of that. It sounds good. Double. It's cool.
Yeah. Red Bull podium.
So we have Leclerc in fourth. And we saw a meme afterwards that's like, the Valtteri traditions meme. It was Leclerc sitting down with traditions because he's the P4 king.
Just always in P4.
He's always 4. Oh, honey. It's still a good amount of points.
Yeah, it is a good amount of points.
Danny Rick finished 5th. I would not have thought that.
Honestly, it might have just been the facial hair plus the Texas outfit plus the Texas accent that he used during the interview.
I can't get over that beard.
Yeah, it was just questionable facial hair for sure.
But yeah, he finishes ahead of Bottas and then Sainz, Norris. Tsunoda got a point. Vettel 10th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is a point for Vettel. Boom, baby. And then we have Gio, which is good. 11th. Stroll, Raikkonen, Russell, Latifi, Mick, and then who shall not be named. And then our 3 retirees.
Yes.
Definitely.
So, I mean, all in all, okay race. I'm sad that Valtteri couldn't get. It's just those freaking McLarens. Like you could see that he was really.
Well, I think so.
Like,
McLaren
you don't want to be behind those people.
No, right? No. And McLaren put something up on their Instagram, and they're like, "What we see, like, and is Daniel Ricciardo and his McLaren, and then it's like what all the other drivers see is a brick wall."
Yeah, it is so impossible to pass them, and I think that Valtteri could have made up more time if he just, even with all the pitting and whatever and all the strategies, if he just didn't get like stuck behind Norris for so long and then stuck behind Sainz, because Sainz was actually doing a really good job holding him off. Tsunoda did a good job in holding him off. So it just is like, I mean, these drivers, they should be driving defensively. So love to see it, but I really want Valtteri on a freaking another podium before the end of the season, because I don't know. I just become a stan over the last few weeks. I think he's great. So
you like the underdog though, man.
I know it's a thing. It's a total like, yeah, you're right.
It's like as soon as Pierre was let go from Red Bull, Shanika just held a grudge against Red Bull and was like, Pierre, bring it home.
Yeah, I'm like, Pierre, you need to get one. Or like Yuki, who's been struggling so hard. I'm like, Yuki, get on the plane.
But not Alex Albon, right?
I mean, we haven't had him drive really.
I mean, I don't know if I'm his biggest fan, TBH.
And then who else? Even Carlos Sainz. Like, I want Carlos Sainz to freaking beat Charles, but I also would like Charles to beat Checo and get on more podiums. So,
right,
kind of all over the place.
Like, he hasn't had a podium in a long time.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Carlos get on a podium and actually be able to celebrate.
Carlos or Charles?
I would say both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Ferrari's on a podium.
Could you imagine? Matteo Binotto would be so happy.
Can he get a tattoo?
Maybe. We'll see. Max is now 12 points clear of Lewis.
Yes.
We still are at the freaking halves, which
it's
so ugly.
Yeah.
It's so ugly. But
so Lewis got fastest lap. So that's why it's 12. But yeah, so I mean, that's still within the range of swinging in 1 or 2 races. So
it's tough. That means though that they need to win the next 2 races. Like they meaning Lewis or Max to like fully kind of clear Lewis essentially. So the next 2 races are going to be quite intense.
But so we've seen now Max has won 8 races and Lewis has won 5.
Yeah.
And they're still this close, which kind of shows that it's like, and I've seen in a few places that like when Lewis makes mistakes, they're not as severe. Right? Like he's able to get away with them with still some points in the bag.
Yeah, that's true. And then versus Max, I mean, there's, you know, obviously we talked about the Pirelli Baku blowout, which he couldn't control, but
that was also the race that Lewis went straight instead of turning.
I know that error.
That one hurt.
Because if he had won that, which he was
he'd still be in the clear.
Yeah. So,
but if Max had won that, Max would be in the clear too. Bunch of what ifs, but we're here right now.
Yeah. One thing that we wanted to note was we didn't know this, but Sergio, how did he not die during that race?
Yeah, Sergio did not have water.
He didn't have
for an athlete with no water, that's unhealthy.
And then you're in that car, you're driving that fast, and like it's
in the Austin heat.
Yeah,
well, I think it's like what 20-25, but still
that's hot. It's
like on a hot tarmac.
Like, I getting dirty air from the other cars, the exhaust. Like I don't know how he was fine.
I don't know. Not healthy though. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, and he's probably like a prune now. I don't know. They need to fix that like immediately.
The American GP
celeb sighting. Hey,
it's like Celeb Central.
Yeah, I guess something we should note is that the American Grand Prix, there was no COVID restrictions in place, which is like heavy Texas energy. Sorry, y'all, if you're from Texas, but you know, if you know, you know. So with that, there was 400,000 fans.
Yep.
So the energy wild, but then also with that, way more celebrities were actually at the races.
Yep. Even though it's football Sunday, is plenty of bars here made us aware.
Yeah, they all just came out for this.
Yeah.
So
we had first one, most impressive one, in our opinion. Shaquille O'Neal was there, and he was the one actually presenting the trophies on the podium.
Oh gosh, I really hope it turns into a meme.
Well, I know F1 reposted something, and the caption was, "Who did this?" with the crying face. So you know it's just like, oh my god. It was like, I think they shrunk the 3 guys on the podium, and they kept Shaq the same size. So he's like monstrous. Hilarious, but seriously, like even without Photoshop,
he's a big dude, which we all knew,
right? Like,
but
we were told he's like 7'1".
He rolled in the strangest car that like looked like it was for, like we would see it
like Mad Max, kind of
like Mad Max-ish, but then also like heavy Stampede vibes, like a Stampede float vibe.
A mix, yes.
Yeah. So he rolls in that, which I thought was so funny. He's so dressed so casually, just like in a t-shirt and jeans. And he's like holding the trophy in this giant car, but like he looks bigger than the car. It's just fully comical. And he gets out, and I'm like, this is so funny. And then he goes into like to go up the stairs to the staging area, but he has to like duck his head a little bit. And I was like, oh my god, this man is huge. And then we see him on
and like, so Lewis is standing on the second place podium, which is fair size. I want to say that's like what,
I would think
1.5 feet or something, 2 feet.
I mean, I don't know, but I would say like at least a couple inches, half a foot minimum.
I would say like maybe 1.5 feet.
Just
because if Shaq's 7'1", right? Take 1.5 feet off of that. That's
Lewis is about like 5'6",
right? 5'7".
Yeah,
they were like literally the same height. It like hilarious,
and it was
so great
because he was in frame for the whole like ceremony, like national anthems playing and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, they clearly didn't tell him where to stand, but he was just like in frame in between Lewis and Max, and you could just see the height discrepancy.
He matched them, even though they're on podiums. It was such a range between athletes, right? There's no one athlete body, you guys. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. We saw it on TV today.
Some other notables we saw: Megan Thee Stallion.
Beautiful.
She made a cameo on Kim Illman's photo. He's like, surprising outfit choice. And yes, it was sheer, and it was very Megan Thee Stallion, but it's Megan Thee Stallion, so shut up. It's fine.
Truly. And it's Texas and she's hot. So
she's not flashing anyone.
Yeah, it's fine. She's
let her enjoy. Have you heard her songs, Kim?
Yeah, if you're surprised about her outfit choice now, maybe listen to her music will change things. But yeah, she's hot. Just don't. Oh my God, stop. Just stop. We also saw a George Lucas, and I don't think I've ever seen George Lucas in shorts. So I study film, y'all, so I know a lot about George Lucas, and I just was very surprised to see his knees.
His knees, of all things.
He was sitting down with like a leg crossed, and I was like, what? George Lucas in shorts? Amazing.
Wild. We also had, speaking of movies, we had Ben Stiller. He made quite a few appearances on the Instagrams.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, not just today, the whole weekend.
All over social.
Yep. Someone in Ferrari posted a blue steel picture with him.
Cute.
Epic.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then someone that I don't know if we should call him a celeb.
I don't know. Like, what do you?
He's a creator. We can call him that. Logan Paul was there, and I'm specifically mentioning him just because of the meme that came out of it. I don't know who the user is, so I'm not gonna be able to give her credit, but someone on Twitter said that, we should start gatekeeping Formula One, and then they posted a photo of Pierre with Logan Paul, and I just thought that was so funny. And then in the comments, they were like, "This is why Pierre DNF'd," like, and they're like,
"This is the bad luck."
Yeah, they're like, he had it coming.
Okay, we don't like gatekeeping.
No,
I can't speak, but I mean, the fact that you shake hands with Logan Paul and you have a DNF says something.
Yeah, but Logan Paul is really prolific in the spaces that he's in, so I guess it makes total sense that he's there. But I just thought the commentary around him was hilarious,
and it brings more fans to the sport, I guess. Somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, someone we didn't know, Carly Kloss was there.
Oh my God,
supermodel show, and Willie Harlow was there for the W series.
Yeah. Willie's beautiful.
She is.
I didn't know Carly was there.
Yeah, her and her husband, which I know is like pretty controversial because they're tied to
the Kushners,
Orange Man,
but we know that they vote Democratic, so we love them.
Wait, do they?
Yeah,
they're tied to Trump, aren't
they? They don't. It's drama.
Oh,
drama at the holidays. I actually don't even know if they do the holidays together, but yeah, they vote blue, baby.
Interesting.
Lots of different views on that one.
But yeah, pretty much we just wanted to note a few funny, great things that happened post-race.
Yeah, there was nothing really notable that was said, just the usual. We worked really hard, like Christian Horner, oh my God, Max deserved it. The thing that Christian needs to stop saying is like, oh, I feel like I aged 25 years in the last whatever laps. I'm like,
dude, you should be like 500 years old.
He said that like 4 times this season, which like fine, whatever. But with Toto specifically, I don't know who had joined the Sky Sports team for the interviews.
They had Danica Patrick.
Who was the guy that was in like the tan pants? Anyways.
That was Jensen Button.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what happened was Toto was being interviewed, and then he kind of like stepped away for 2 seconds to give Christian Horner a handshake. But where Christian Horner wasn't too far away from where Toto and the rest of the Sky Sports people were interviewing him. And there was a camera guy just like not seeing where he was. He was trying to talk to Christian, but like the dude's camera was like inches from Jensen Button's head, that it got to the point where Toto just like shoved the camera. I thought it was so funny. Because I was like, I mean, you're being told, and it wasn't even, we're so Canadian that we would apologize. Sorry. But no, Toto just shoved him, and even after the interview didn't like apologize to the guy. But in fairness, the guy had like no idea that he was about to smoke Jensen Button in the head. But I also saw something similar happen with Lewis right after the race. Did you see?
Oh, really? No.
He was being weighed, I think, right after the race,
Okay.
and the camera was so close to his fucking face that he bumped it with his helmet and then like kind of pushed the camera back
Oh
a little
my
bit.
God.
Where I'm like, guys, personal space.
Pushy.
Like, y'all just personal space. It's gonna be good.
Good Lord. I honestly didn't watch these post-race interviews. I'm not gonna lie. I was having a lot of fun
Chat
at the bar.
Yeah.
Okay. But I know Danica I saw her paying attention to
I
the
was paying
interviews.
attention. So there was nothing too much with Lewis. I think there was, again, worked really hard, wasn't enough. They have more speed, whatever. But what I thought was funny, just the commentary that was happening around me about Lewis, where everyone's like, just his skincare. Like he whatever he's doing, is it the fact that he can afford it, which we can't afford? Like, I don't know. Who knows? Drinking different water than we are? I don't know. But his skin is beautiful. And that was being commented on by everyone around me, which I thought was so funny. The reporters did snag a quick interview with Charles as he was walking.
Mm-hmm.
The usual, just kind of upset. Not upset. I think he was fine, but just kind of like, would have been nice to be on the podium. But like P4 is good, but like would have been nice to be on the podium.
This is why they did the traditions meme for him.
Yeah. He was pretty gracious though. He smiled and was like,
okay,
whatever.
I want to also point that I was watching a YouTube video yesterday. It was from a few years ago. And it was by that CCF1 podcast. So another Canadian, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Right? And so she was actually ranking like her experiences meeting F1 drivers.
Oh.
And Carlos was the worst experience.
Oh no.
And I was like, why?
Was he just busy?
Well, I guess like she caught him after like a driver debrief and like he was the last one to leave. Maybe he was in a bad mood, but like she's like, can I get a picture with you? He's like, sure. So she takes it and you see the picture and he's like,
just miserable.
And then like she turns around to say thank you and he's gone. And it's like, Charles. And then so Danica brings up that this interview is like done with him walking. And I'm like, Charles, are you just like too busy for people?
Oh no, Charles. That's okay. I don't know. He seemed fine. Lando obviously wanted to have a little bit more in terms of where he finished, but it just wasn't there today, which is fine. And then he did talk about, which I mentioned earlier, just being 3 wide and the choices he had to make there. But it's a good lot of points for them.
Are they still ahead of Ferrari?
I think just by like a couple, like 3 or 4 or something. So very neck and neck. Next race will have to be quite telling. Carlos was a little bit more disappointed.
I don't know if you can have a happy Carlos.
Truly. And I think what's interesting, what's his sign?
Virgo.
He's a Virgo. Of course, he's
a Virgo.
Like,
also, we should note that we're now in Scorpio season, you guys.
I know.
So it's Lando and Stroll.
Yeah. And also Christian Horner.
And Christian Horner.
Yeah. Anyways. Yep. But yeah, so Carlos, he is a perfectionist. So obviously wanted to be higher up. Ideally beating his teammate would be one good position, but he wants to be on that podium. So he just said there could have been more, but it's all we could have done, whatever. But he just sounded more upset than Charles did. Charles just kind of like, yeah, people are again, whatever. But Carlos seemed a little bit more upset. But yeah, as Caitlin said, it is Scorpio season. Yeah. So I was hoping that, I mean, I guess things came up fine for Christian Horner, but like Lance Stroll wasn't that great.
Unmemorable.
And Lando, like we've seen him do better. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Scorpio season just started.
Yeah, we'll see. It's still cuspy, right?
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully that changes.
Will there be a race on the 14th?
No, there's one on the
7th.
No.
Are you sure 14th? Is that not Brazil? Let's look this up.
We're looking this up right now.
Because Lando's birthday is November 13th. So her birthday.
Yeah, we have the same birthday, y'all.
So it's a very exciting weekend. So
the Mexican Grand Prix.
Brazilian is the 14th.
Yeah.
We'll have a birthday F1.
I don't know what was being shown on my computer, but yeah. So Caitlin was spot on. The next race is on the 7th, and then the 14th. Will be post my birthday, Lando birthday.
Exciting.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But that one's like early.
No.
Well, 10. Earlier than what we're doing. I
don't know if the bar will be open.
No.
We can ask them to accommodate us.
We'll see. Anyways, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, that's what we got for this one. Let us know if you like this format a little bit better. It does seem cleaner.
Yeah,
right?
Less back and forth. We're able to condense some notes. This also was the least noted just because we're definitely
at the bar
having some Caesars. There's lots of beers, some chefs.
Yes.
If you are listening to this and you are of age, do you have a shaft where you live? Curious.
Okay, and that's a drink.
Yeah.
To clarify,
just let us know because we're curious. But so we were just like really chatty, and the next episode will likely be the
same. It was fun to watch. Like there was a lot of excitement. There was cheering, like full on cheering from the whole crew.
So good energy.
Something we like. So yeah, hopefully we're going to be doing that for Mexico GP in 2 weeks. We'll see what we can do for the Brazilian one.
It's a bit earlier.
We'll see.
Figure something out.
You can always have coffee and Baileys.
Right. And on that note, okay, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, where else?
And YouTube.
Yes, we're on YouTube.
And you can check out our website. It's still getcheckered.wordpress.com.
We need to figure that out.
It will be in like another month, I think.
I think we can transfer. Yeah. So you can check us out there. We are pretty active though on our socials now. So we answer DMs and stuff pretty frequently. Let us know what you think and what you want us to talk about, because we are heading into some like breaks, I feel like. So we need content. Also, we have a very exciting interview that we're doing.
Yeah.
Coming up.
So, I mean, stay tuned, you guys.
Yeah, it's a very cool, just a cool thing that we're going to be doing.
Without giving too much away.
I know, I'm trying not to give too much away. But that's all, folks. We will see you in the next one.
Yeah, stay checkered, amigos. Bye.
Bye.